that's it. Turn the page on the day, walk away. Cause there's sense in what I say. I'm 45th generation Roman, but I don't know them or care when I'm spitting. So return to your sitting position and listen, it's fitting. And I'm miles ahead and they chase me. Show your face on TV, then we'll see. You can't do half, my crew laughs at your rhubarb and custard verses. You rain down curses, but I'm waving your hearses driving by. Streets riding high with the beats in the sky. All stare, eyes glazed, garage burned down, the fire raged. For 40 days and in 40 ways. But through the blaze they see it fade. The sea of black, the beaming heat on their faces. Then a figure emerges from the wastage, eyes transfixed with a piercing gaze. One hand clutching his sword, raised to the sky. They wonder how, they wonder why. The sky turns white, it all becomes clear. They felt lifted from their fears. They shed tears in the light after 6 dark years. Young bold soldiers, the fire burns, cracks and smoulders. 5 years older and wiser, the fires are burning on fire, never tire. Slay warriors in the forests and on higher. We sing, hear the strings rising. The war's over, the bells ring. Memories fading, soldiers slain, looks like geezers raving. The hazy fog over the bull ring, the lazy ways the birds sing. A new baby's born every day. Few men may be scorned today, but look at things the other way, cause it may well be your final day. And then the crowds roar, they slay, they all say, I produced this using only my bare wit. Give me a jungle, a garage beat and admit defeat. Use war and past injuries, my metaphor is simile. Get all applications into me before the deadline, cause it's a fine line between strife for crimes and a life for crime. But you will reach the day, and it's all mine. You can take it or leave it. I shake and reveal stage tricks like Jimi Hendrix. In the afterlife, gladiators meet their maker. Float through the wheat fields and lakes of blue water to the next life from the fortress. Away from the knives and slaughter to their wives and daughters. Once more before the Lord judges over all of us. It's in this place you'll see me. Brace yourself, cause this goes deep. I'll show you the secrets, the sky and the birds. Actions speak louder than words. Stand by me, my apprentice. Be brave. Clench fists.
This ain't the down, it's the upbeat, make it complete. So what's the story? Guaranteed accuracy, enhanced CD. Latest technology, darts at treble 20. Huge non-recoupable advance, majors be vigilant. I excel in both content and deliverance. So let's put on our classics and we'll have a little dance, shall we? No sales pitch, no media hype. No hydro, it's nice and right. I speak in communications in bold type. This ain't your archetypal street sound. Scan for ultrasounds, north, south, east, west and all round. And then to the underground.
You say that everything sounds the same, then you go by them. There's no excuses, my friend. Let's push things forward. You say that everything sounds the same, then you go by them. There's no excuses, my friend. Let's push things forward.
As we progress to the checkpoint, I wholeheartedly agree with your viewpoint, but this ain't your typical garage joint. I make points which hold significance. That ain't a bag, it's a shipment. This ain't a track, it's a movement. I got the settlement. My frequencies are transient and resonate your eardrums. I make bangers, not anthems. Leave that to the artful dodger. The broad-shouldered 51% shareholder. You won't find us on Alta Vista. Cult classic, not bestseller. You're gonna need more power. Plug in the three-phase and the generator. Crank it up to the gigawatts. Critics ready with your pot shots. The plot thickens. Put on your mittens for these sub-zero conditions. But remember I'm just spitting. Remember I'm just spitting. Once bitten, forever smitten.
You say that everything sounds the same, then you go by them. There's no excuses, my friend. Let's push things forward. You say that everything sounds the same, then you go by them. There's no excuses.
Spit jewels like Eastern riches, junkie fixes. Around here we say birds, not as London Bridge burns down, Brixton's burning up. Turns out you're in luck, so I know this dodgy in the duck. So it's just another show flick from your local city poet. Case you geezers don't know it, let's push things forward. It's a tall order, but we're taller. Calling all maulers, backstreet brawlers, corner shop crawlers. Victory's flawless. Love us or hate us, but don't slate us. Don't conform to formulas. Pop genres are shut. Sharp darts, double dutch. Park cars, troubles are much with more bud. Let's push things forward.
You say that everything sounds the same, then you go by them. There's no excuses, my friend. Let's push things forward. You say that everything sounds the same, then you go by them. There's no excuses, my friend.
Yo, 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 Modine, Speaker's Corner with MistaRax. No, it's right. It's Dave.
Dave Bones.
Dave Bones.
Now, we're going to have a nice lunch today, I'm sure. But
thank you very much.
The thing is, you've had like a really kind of experienced history when it comes to Speaker's Corner and other things, documentary making and the Finsbury Park Mosque and certain individuals. So I believe you've got a story to tell, Dave.
Thank you. Wow.
And I want to hear it.
very few people take an interest in it now. I suppose, yeah. I think it's more filming in the street. I think that's where certainly my connection to yourself and my interest in yourself and the guys in Speaker's Corner has been because I used to film in the street, and I think filming in the street's where it's at. Yeah.
So what sort of time frame? When did you start filming documentaries?
2003.
2003.
Yeah,
wow.
The Iraq War. It's very easy to.
15 years.
Yeah. The Iraq War was very. I saw that coming, and I just needed to film. I really needed to film in the street, film what I had, where I was, and do some sort of reaction to it. And so, I started filming protests, and I really didn't like it somehow. I agreed with everyone, but I wasn't in on their thing, and so they were using Abu Hamza to sell the war. Very much the Sun was using Abu Hamza to sell this war on terror, on this war in Iraq, which was obviously very dubious from the time. And so I went up to Speaker's Corner and just to see, is this guy who they say he is?
Is that guy with the claw hand, the hook hand?
Yeah, the hooks, yeah.
Oh, okay, that guy. Didn't he get deported or something?
He got deported, he got tried in an American court and he's in jail, I think for life in a Supermax. On his own, I think he's allowed out 1 hour a day or something.
Wow, so you had, you made documentaries and things about him in Finsbury Park Mosque?
Very much YouTube based. I tried to get some, I was very anti-media when I first started, and I was doing YouTube based.
Fun the BBC and ITV. Big up COE, big up MistaRax TV, big up TNTS Greek and all the Speaker's Corner channels.
Speaker's Corner, massive. Yeah, so that's where I sort of started. That's where I started making mistakes and started filming people. It's nice. It was nice jumping around with a little camera and filming people with all the big TV and everyone. They all hated them and they didn't really know how to deal with me. But I just kept going back and I got to know them all. And I was very anti-media at first, and then when I realised how skint I was, I actually tried to make documentaries and tried to. I almost got ripped off one time. Some guy was commissioning for Channel 4, and he tried to arrange to meet Attila without me. Attila was Abu Hamza's second in command, who Nigel Lindsay based his character on in 4 Lions.
Oh, right.
4 Lions? He based his character on watching my stuff about Attila. like because he was very much a Londoner sort of dude, like, you know, and sort of shouting a lot. And there you can see, if you watch Attila, if you watch Four Lions, you see the connection.
So what's your whole story about the Finsbury Park Mosque and this guy with the hook hand? What is it?
Well, I went there seeing seeing if he was who they said he was, and if he was agreeing with terrorism, I wouldn't have stayed, because why would I want to give him publicity? But because he was so vocal against terrorism in this country, I thought he was being misrepresented, so I stuck around. And it was, in the end, as I found my feet, it was a bit of a race, really, between... I usually only go when there's a big story I knew the cameras were going to be there. And so it was a race between me editing a little piece and getting it up on the internet at the same time as the news was going out on the BBC. So that people could watch the BBC, watch ITV was doing, and then watch how Dave was doing on the street.
Get the real story.
Like, yeah, this is it. And it was always like weird side stories going on, and what actually happened, and what happened with the media and the people, because they always loved kicking journalists and all that sort of stuff like going on. And so yeah, it was good fun to do that. And then as time went on, I became a bit of a well known to Muslims who were considering that side of the story. I would see in chat rooms that they were saying, well, yeah, he's a kafir, but he seems to be in the middle, or he seems to be fair, or he seems to be... And eventually, over the years, I became a bit of a go-to guy for extremists who wanted to be filmed. Chowdhury called me up. Wow. Someone gave him my number, and so he called me up and said, yeah, you come down to our events, and if you want to film. I went down to an event in the Friends Meeting House. It was the first one I went to, because he was banned from everywhere holding their meetings. I started filming there. I went to Wembley to film Chowdhury as well. But I didn't really hang around with Chowdhury's lot, because it was such a big task trying to get a documentary going with Attila and Hamza's posse, that I really didn't feel like starting with a new bunch, and they were very, very different.
Were those two connected, Hamza and Chowdhury?
They seemed to be rivals at first. The people in Finsbury Park, the kids around the story in Finsbury Park used to say, well, Abu Hamza's preaching against terrorism, we don't believe in terrorism. Chowdhury and Bakri, they're saying in favour of terrorism, but they don't get any hassle. They're saying, well, why are we getting a hassle? And they're not. They thought that, I think either side thought the other side was working for MI5, I think. But it all depends who you talk to. But there wasn't a connection between the two then, although afterwards there was a bit of a bleed, but they did seem to be a little bit rivals. I think outside the American embassy, they actually were both there protesting one time. But in general, they seem to be a bit rivals.
But don't you believe the MI5 around them, infiltrated them, or using them, or what's the conspiracy?
At that time, they were really, really scrabbling, because it's been documented how much scrabbling they were, because they didn't have any converts or any reverts or any Muslims really involved in mosques who could just suddenly turn up and not be suspected, I don't think, and so they were scrabbling. I think I would imagine now that all the mosques are probably infiltrated in some way or another.
What about certain individuals at Speaker's Corner?
Oh yeah, yeah. Speaker's Corner. I turned up because of the connection when Attila Ahmet, who was Abu Hamza's psychic, was charged. He was joint charged with Mohammed Hamid. Oh, wicked!
So the steam buns.
Beautiful.
Look that up. These tarts.
Thank you. Wrapped up in paper. Thank you, MistaRax.
Yeah, so what were you saying?
Yeah, I turned up in Speaker's Corner because Attila was joint charged with Mohammed Hamid, who was a regular at Speaker's Corner, which I didn't really find out until the trial, really. And then when it was a real class move on the part of the authorities, joint charging people, because of course you make tension between those two people. And Attila ended up pleading guilty, and so the trial went ahead. against Hamid, and Hamid was sent down with the IPP, so he's still inside even after his trials, even after the sentence has been served, and Attila is out.
Yeah, but back to this Hamza thing. What was all that about? I mean, I've seen a couple of your documentaries, or I saw one of them recently, but I've watched some others in the past. But the one I watched, yesterday, was quite interesting.
Oh yeah, that's Ishmael's documentary. It's called Age of Extreme, the Ishmael Blackgrove.
Ishmael
Oh, I
Blackgrove,
see.
right?
Yeah, that's connecting one there.
Yeah, that's kind of connecting the dots.
Yeah,
I want to know more about Ishmael and your take on him as well, but we'll do that after we eat. But I mean, just going back to that Hamza thing. So what was that all about?
How do you mean? What,
I mean, why did you
corner?
decide to film him? And
Oh, I see. Yeah, just because, like I say, it was he was being very much used to sell the Iraq War by the Sun mainly. I think really they have this face of this hook guy. He was perfect character, and so yeah, I thought it was round the corner. I was squatting at the time, and I thought it was just round the corner. I thought I'd just go down there with a camera, rock up, see is he who they say he is he not who they say he is, and then obviously I saw Attila there, who was this very London, very white, well Turkish, but very Londoner sort of style dude shouting as well, and there was never any connection with that in the news, so I saw a lot more than was being served us in the evening in the news,
basically real
and so I hung around.
news.
Yeah, and so I hung around. I ended up there for 3 years. On and
Wow.
off. Not every Friday, but every time they were prominent in the news, I'd be there.
So you got a lot of footage as well. Is it all mainly on your channel? Is it all uploaded?
Yeah, everything I can upload. Some of it I still haven't and still can't.
Right, we'll have to chase you some exclusives, mate. But I mean, what's the name of that documentary again?
Age of Extreme.
Age of Extreme.
That's the connection, to Speaker's Corner. Ishmael makes some excellent documentary.
Yeah, that was Ishmael Blackgrove's documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And you were in it quite prominently, so I really can't wait to delve into.
You want to talk about that after then?
I want to talk about Ishmael Blackgrove as well. But before that, let's dig into this.
Nice one. Yeah, so what did I think of Abu Hamza? I always think Abu Hamza knows me better than I know him, because I think if you asked him about this crazy guy who used to come down, he'd go, oh yeah, I know him, and he'd see who I was and think, oh yeah, he's one of these sort of people, and it'd be quite obvious. Whereas me looking at him, it was odd really, because he was such a beautiful. Thank you.
So much. Enjoy, gents.
Thank you.
Where were we?
Yeah, Hamza, he had such an atmosphere around him because of. I mean, I realise that now that the camera really changes people a lot, and he had such an atmosphere around him. I was a bit too nervous myself. I went there, and the BBC asked me because someone put my name on the network, and the BBC asked me to come and film, and that really went badly wrong. He was sort of I asked him a normal question, he started running away, and I was like, and so I thought that didn't work, and I went back with my own camera and started filming for myself, and they got a bit more. I was always a bit tolerated rather than liked or anything. I was like some kappa with a camera, really, and. But if you ask him questions that he liked, you get a sort of short answer. If you ask questions he didn't like, then you're part of the Zionist, this, that, and the other. So in the end, I stopped asking any questions, and then just was filming what happened, how it happened, how Vince was reacting, how he reacted to the media, how the media reacted to him, and all that sort of stuff. And I think what's missing, he was really popular with kids, and he was very funny. What has never been got across, he was for an Egyptian speaking in English, he was a very funny guy. He had a good sense of humour, and he enjoyed being funny. And all the kids, they loved it. Their local preacher was this badass who, like, everybody was against, like, and they loved that. They thought that was brilliant, and they come back each week going, yeah, it was great. But mostly that place was filled because the other mosque was so overcrowded. People just wanted somewhere to pray, and they're supposed to pray on the Friday at this time. So I wouldn't say there was more than 30, 40 actual supporters be around him afterwards, hang around afterwards, and be part of the posse. And yeah, and one of them was Attila. One of them was Ali Beheshti, who was probably the nicest guy I met there. He was the nicest to me, Ali Beheshti, and he ended up firebombing a publisher in Islington, and with 3 accomplices, and which is very. The trial was a very 4-line sort of story. They were like, elect him, Amir in the cab. Everything was. They had bugs on everything, and he's now he's come out of jail. I think he's very much against jihadis and trying to steer the youth away from that. He shaved his beard off and that. I've not seen him since, but I always liked Ali Beheshti. He was really nice. But Attila was the main guy, because Hamza was arrested. Hamza looked at my footage. I asked him a week before he was arrested what he thought of my filming, just on the off cuff, and he said, yeah, it's interesting, yeah. And then the week after that he was arrested, and then it was Attila, and then the police straight away was leaning on Attila, like, are you going to continue? Are you going to be able to continue this protest without Hamza, sort of thing? Did it look like, obviously not in those words, but did it look like he was or not? And yeah, he sort of straight away became their leader, and he was shouting, and then he ended up getting arrested in a Chinese restaurant just down the road from here, which is quite popular with Muslims, and he got arrested joint charged with Mohammed Hamid from Speaker's Corner, who I saw once in Finsbury Park. When Attila was arrested, I'd become sort of friends with some journalists. I was a bit of a go-to guy for the jihadi guys, and a bit of a go-to guy for journalists who wanted to know what was happening, from CNN, from BBC. And one of these journalists asked me, said, look, have you got some footage of Attila and Mohammed Hamid together? And I said, yeah, I have, but I spoke to Musa, Attila's brother, and he said, I said, look, they're asking me for his footage. He said, no, please don't give it to them, because they didn't want him to be connected to him either, because of their own sort of beef from being joint charged with that, I think. And so he wasn't. So I didn't, because I was trying to make a documentary with Attila. I didn't give the BBC the footage of the two of them together, and I still haven't put it online now, because he wasn't. Hamid wasn't connected to Finsbury Park at all. He was Speaker's Corner. Speaker's Corner. If you talk to some of the old guys in Speaker's Corner, they'll tell you probably a lot more about Hamid and how he used to behave in Speaker's Corner than I can.
Yeah, which brings us to Speaker's Corner.
Yes, yeah, it certainly brought me to Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, so you've been away from Speaker's Corner for quite a while.
Yes.
And what brought you back?
What brought me back was was Tommy Robinson. He said that he was. He mentioned Speaker's Corner and said that Muslims were taking it over. These sort of football supporters, they all fight for territory, don't they? These guys are taking over our territory. We're going to go and win it back. And yeah, he was saying he was going to take it over, and so or he was going to fight for Speaker's Corner. So I thought, good. I thought these two groups, they need to talk to each other. I knew that there would be football fan style face-offs, but I thought, these guys are saying they're not racist, and these Muslims are saying they're not terrorists, so they need to chat. And sure enough, it was freezing cold, but I went down and I ended up filming a bit of a rock and having what you do, like you go home and you watch your videos, suddenly you get 100 video views every 5 minutes. You're like, oh wow, like what the hell's happening? Like that never happened to me when I was filming outside Finsbury Park. Like, so, I mean, some of my videos have got like 150,000 views, but like very few of them, like, you know, and over a long period of time. But yeah, sure enough, apart from that stupid rock in the middle, there was people around the outside that talking, and I want Tommy Robinson's lot to come down. If they say not racist, good, you're not racist. All right, if you're not racist, come and talk to these guys who say they're not terrorists. Learn about each other, talk, and then if you have an argument, come back again the next week. Because we've seen many times in Speaker's Corner, innit? People have a row, they you know, and then they come back. What are they going to do the next week? What are they going to say? You know, and myself online, I was very much when I was doing filming. Hamza was in a period of blogging, and so I became a lot of friends with the people from the other side. I became friends with a lot of Republicans in America. And we would always talk, and you have a few blazing rows a few times, and then you start asking, oh, well, how's the kids? You know, and it's just a normal sort of way to go, like, you know, and like happened with Big Ards. Big up, you know, when he was talking to, when he first started accusing Raj and that lot, you know, I thought he'd never been to Speaker's Corner before, and I thought he'd just like seen him slagging off Pakistan and just come flying down there, like I thought, oh my god. And so I was sort of distracting him a bit, like, you know, and he was like going to run me out the park, and he was going to run Raj out the park and everything, and then he came back next week and was like apologising, and I was like, wow, what a dude, like, you know, and like, it's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing about the debate, which is fantastic. Yeah, so yeah, sorry, I got distracted myself.
No, that's right. I think yeah, before we continue, it's getting cold.
Yeah, so where were we? Talking about Speaker's Corner and coming back to Speaker's Corner this time. Because Tommy and hoping that these guys would get a chance to speak, and they did, and they came back, and a few of them have been speaking. They've been differentiating for themselves between Muslims who want to be a threat and Muslims who don't want to be a threat, which is a good thing, I hope. I mean, obviously, when these people are in gangs, they behave like gangs, don't they? And when these people, you know, when these DFLA types and when the Muslims front off against each other, there's nothing about God, it's just two different sides. I think Modine put that very well, like, you know, he said that it's just two different sides against each other. And around that, conversations did start happening. And then I stayed because I started looking at YouTube and becoming aware of yourself, COE, Kalam. I see everybody filming. I remember noticing, clocking Kalam coming past me with his camera up in glee. Always big
up Titans. Always, big up man like Sarah. Gang. Big up gang all day.
All these, so he's in glee at all these Tommy Robinson supporters. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And I think he's obviously going live with someone. But then, yeah, I started watching your stuff and COE stuff, and I thought, oh wow, there's something really different about Speaker's Corner now. It's much more YouTube based than it was when I went 2008, I think, when Hamid was on trial. I mean, it is different in some ways, but in other ways it's not, I suppose, because I think what Steve was saying about the debate used to be so much better.
Who's that?
Steve, Atheist Steve.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
Big up Steve.
Big up Steve, yeah, absolute rubbish. There's always attracted lunatics like flies to shit, that place. Always. There was idiots in 2008, all the time. There's people threatening each other. There was people preaching terrorism in Speaker's Corner, and the police didn't do anything. And that was always the case then. I think probably more during the Iraq War. I mean, I was not regular there. I started coming when Hamid was on trial, and I stuck around for a bit. And then Ishmael obviously got in contact with me, but we'll talk about him later. You know, and so I had a flavour of the place then. There's a few people I still recognise, very, very few people. It was a lot more about heckling in those days. I think there was speakers, and there was some brilliant hecklers, especially an old Irish guy. I've seen film of this old Irish guy from the 70s heckling, and it was a lot more heckler based and speaker based, and they're very, very funny. Whereas now it's a lot more YouTube based, and so you can't really hear what's going on until you watch it afterwards on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a clip. I think it's on that documentary that you sent to me, that your one. And I saw someone in there called Alan. And I interviewed Alan once, and people really, he walks around the park and people kind of look at him like he's a homeless or something like that, because he carries like a trolley with all these things, and it says the BBC is full of lies, and so are the Russian media, and so on, and he kind of goes in on the BBC.
Okay.
And so I interviewed him, and he had some real gems, but I didn't really know who he was.
Yeah.
And then I saw him in this old clip of yours, and he's still saying "fuck the BBC" and all of this. It's like legendary. Next time I see him, I'm going to speak to him. Big up, Alan.
Yeah.
You're on my channel. Just search for the clip called 18+. Alan Explains.
Yeah.
For everyone out there. But anyway, there's a lot of faces.
Guys who are still there.
I recognise Hashim from there as well. That guy.
Okay. I don't. Maybe I would know him. Yeah. And it was. I mean, people got all upset and throw out the toys out the pram about tan and everything, but like there used to be a woman there who openly preached racism, openly preached Nazism. Really, she said Hitler would be judging most of us. Her name was Diane. Every week she would.
I've heard of her.
Yeah, every week she. I don't know what happened to her. I think she retired to Southend or something.
I believe somebody said she passed away or something.
I would imagine.
I believe
so by now.
If I'm wrong, I apologise, but I think somebody was mentioned. I don't know her.
I don't think she had any friends in Speaker's Corner, but everybody, she'd come out with this stuff, and everyone would just fall about the place laughing. It was like, I mean, I thought that's how they would react to tan, but I couldn't believe it. Everyone was taking him seriously. It's like, I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, I don't agree with saying what white people call the N-word, and I think when he threw the Quran on the floor was when I started thinking, no, he's no longer funny. He's actually, I mean,
he was in that crew with Raj and Hassan and all those guys.
Who? Tan?
Tan. I think James. I don't know, a few of those guys, but I don't know what happened. I think they distanced themselves from each other or something.
From Tan? Yeah, definitely.
In the end, I think he went too far.
They didn't. No one liked that N-word stuff, and you saw what happened. But I mean, So from then to now. It's very, very much different. People are, it's very YouTube based, like yourself and COE. But I really related straight away. I mean, I spoke to COE and yourself, isn't it? I was thinking, like, I'm really, really into what you guys are doing. You guys are doing what I was trying to do, like, ages ago, and getting nowhere with it.
Mate, I'll tell you one thing. I'd love to have you back in the park doing your thing, because it was brilliant. Looking back at sort of like 15 years ago, the park, and I'm sure it's kind of in 15 or 20 years' time they'll be looking at my channel, TNTS Greek, COE, and getting a snapshot of 2018 Speaker's Corner, Well, and the other channels. Big up all the channels, Speaker's Corner.
I mean, sometimes I think I might as well start filming, because I don't really debate, because that's what. I used to have really strong opinions before I started filming people. I don't know how it changed you, but from filming people, you start to suck inwards with information and film things and see, wow, the classic sort of nature of people, their faults, their good parts, and how it's on their face and their baby. And you sort of think less and believe less, and you sort of just film more. And so I don't really debate people in the park at all, but I didn't really want to film either, because I thought yourself and COE were just doing such a great job. And it's yours, isn't it? It's like maybe I'll come back and film something, but it all depends what happens.
Yeah, no, definitely. I encourage you to pick up that camera and come back down. I mean, you're there every few weeks anyway. I've seen you there.
I try and get back. Sometimes my work takes me abroad. But I like to get down there. I really enjoy when Sophia arrived. Must be an hour after I left, and I had to go that time. She arrived an hour after I left, and then for the next 3 weeks I was watching her on YouTube from a foreign country in a hotel room, going, "Oh my God, this is fucking." She completely set the whole pace alight. I thought, this is amazing. What the hell is going down? And everyone calling us Simon and everything back and forth, and it was just really funny. I think now I think what's interesting is I don't actually dislike anybody. I like everybody in Speaker's Corner, and people with completely opposite views. And it doesn't matter about people's views about whether I like them or not. I like everybody. The only person I struggle with is Bob, because
Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder, yeah, because, and I know why that is in myself, because I used to be a Christian, and so if anyone's going to trigger me or whatever, it's going to be Bob, because you know he's preaching Bob. You know, he's not preaching. Well, he says obviously he's preaching Jesus, but like I tried to have him the other week, but like it doesn't matter. I don't mind what he believes, but always just because Jesus went mad in the temple against capitalism, basically inside a spiritual place, it doesn't justify collateral damage for Jesus. Like it doesn't, like, you know, and he's not preaching Jesus, he's preaching Bob and a bit of alt-right. Like, yeah. Anyway, that's my big up Bob.
Big up Bob the Builder. But, you know, big up Modine as well. Big up Big Arts from earlier as well.
Exactly. But like I said, I saw one epic debate Bob had with a young Muslim kid, where everyone was trying to, all the other Muslims were trying to pile in, but this young Muslim kid was talking really politely. I think it says, Bob, he called it.
It was Omar, I think. Big up Omar.
No, he called it Muslim answers questions, because this kid actually did answer everything about Aisha being a 9-year-old and all that sort of stuff. And they had a really good conversation. They got right to the end of the conversation, and all Bob's lot said, well, give him a clap because he's done really well. He's stood by his book, this, that, and the other. And I thought that made me, first time I sort of thought, well, actually, I don't dislike Bob that much either. You know what I mean? Like, but I really do like everybody, because you see people's good points and you see people's bad points. I mean, that's why like Modine's been so much fun, isn't he? Because you can really see his good points and you can really see his bad points as well. And like, he's so worried about, he says he doesn't care what people think about him, and he's so obviously worried about what everyone's saying about him and thinking about him. It's just brilliant, like, you know. Fantastic.
And what about Raspek, Jedi, all these guys, Maku, big up the man them. What's your take on these guys in the park?
Raspek, I spoke to Raspek a long time ago, just in brief, and I said, oh, look, I'm very pleased with what you guys gang are doing. And he was like really nice and everything, and I didn't speak to him since. I was disappointed when he had his attitude towards Sophia. Obviously I would be, but it's not. I've been to Jamaica. It's not uncommon, and I realise that these people are going to struggle, especially in their peer group. You know, if they could get on with someone who's transvestite, or get on with someone who's changed sex, you know, they couldn't do it in front of their friends, maybe. I really don't know, but obviously he has his beliefs, and I like people who've got very, very controversial beliefs, because I like them, because I very much like talking to the other side. I've had Republican friends, Trump fans. I speak to a guy who likes Trump more often than I speak to a lot of other people, because I've got a little Facebook page which has got people debating on it. Maybe I'll talk to you about it later. But I was disappointed that Raspek took that position, but it wasn't a surprise. And yeah, that's up to him. I mean, I think Siri was telling me in Jamaica, a lot of people are more accepting of gay and trans. And on my last day in Jamaica, I saw someone who was openly either changing or dressed as a woman going through downtown Kingston. So, there's obviously something going on. And Siri told me that there's gay, obviously camp and gay TV presenters in Jamaica. So maybe things have changed now. I really don't know. I really like Jamaicans. I say they've got very controversial views, but I think they're for a white guy in Jamaica, it was just and especially the chances I got to go behind the scenes and everything and see some crazy places was really good, amazing. And Jedi, I don't really know a lot to do with him. He's very entertaining to watch, isn't he? They're all very entertaining to watch. Raj, you know, he pokes everybody and pods everybody, doesn't he? You're not impressed with Raj? Well, Raj, I thought he was just really funny and funny. His Karen was very funny to watch. I don't agree with these people, but they're very funny to watch. Sarah, I had a bit of an argument with him on his page the other day. I don't think he remembered who I was from talking to me, but I really enjoy Sarah's take and Kalam especially. I really enjoy their take and the fact that they don't want to think the long the same as everybody else. They just think they're having a bit of involved think about things, and they don't mind taking a bit of flap with that, you know. Yeah.
A new day, another morning after, leaning back on my chair in a greasy spoon cafeteria. Last night was some beer lariness done our way, but again we're back in the light of day. Chatting, sitting at the wall table, telling jokes, playing with the salt, looking out the window. Girl brings 2 plates of full English over with plenty of scrambled eggs and plenty of fried tomato. Get my phone out, about to give this girl a shout, see if she had a nice time last night uptown. Ask if she fancies trying it again sometime. Then Cal grabs the phone like, oi, 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 oi. Hold it down, boy, your head's getting blurred. I know you can't stop thinking of her. By all means you can vibe with this girl, but just don't mug yourself, that's all, don't mug yourself.
Seriously, mate.
No, 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 so, I mean, I'm no way really, do you know what I mean? I can take it or leave it, believe. And then Calvin's like, oi, you need to hold it down, Jack. Put your phone back, quit staring into space and eat your snack, that's that. She'll want you much more for not hanging on. Stop me if I'm wrong, stop me if I'm wrong. Why should she be the one who decides whether it's off or on or on or off or on? Now the girl's rude, I know she's rude, but she's screwed right through you. You'll be on your knees soon. Hold it down, boy, your head's getting blurred. I know you can't stop thinking of her. By all means you can vibe with this girl, but just don't mug yourself, that's all, don't mug yourself. And I'm like, honestly, it's not like that. You're acting like I'm prancing like a sap, jumping when she claps and that. Oi, do you really think I act whack? Cause I'm telling you, I'm serving the aces and it's game, set and match. Perfectly in control of this goal. I've got the lead role, won't be folding, I'm older than you told. Girl sold, high speed's gold. Game over, too cold. Hold it down, boy, your head's getting blurred. I know you can't stop thinking of her. By all means you can vibe with this girl, but just don't mug yourself, that's all, don't mug yourself. Hold it down, boy, your head's getting blurred. I know you can't stop thinking of her. By all means you can vibe with this girl, but just don't mug yourself, that's all, don't mug yourself.
Yeah. Hold it down, boy, your head's getting blurred. I know you can't stop thinking of her. That girl, is she a smelly on a piece? She must have. Oh no!
Oh no, that's it.
Nothing seems to change. Same old thing every day. Just gets played and replayed in different ways.
Dave.
Yes.
So, as promised, Ishmael Blackgrove.
Ishmael, yeah.
Tell me about him. The man, the myth, the legend.
I wish I knew more about him. He got in contact with me. I don't know how. I'm not sure who put him in touch with me. But my films were, my YouTube was obviously getting known. And he was filming Hamid. Yeah, it must have been because he was filming Hamid. He was filming Hamid's friend who had got off. The only one who got off on that terror charge, who was a regular in Speaker's Corner, and he must have started filming, must have started to, got in contact with me because of that. And so he got in contact with me. I went down to his place in Ladbroke Grove, and we got talking. I got quite animated about.
What year was this?
That's been 2008, I suppose. The trial. I'd have to look at my videos to see for definite, but I think it must have been somewhere around then. But I obviously got quite animated talking about Hamza. And so I think he was originally asking me for information. And then he decided, yeah, well, maybe I want you to be in my film as well. And so he came down to my place and was filming me at my kitchen table. And yeah, like what you're doing, it's like, you have a great conversation and then you put the camera on and it's like, oh, yeah, sometimes it's like that. But yeah, he filmed me. He got all my newspapers from. I had all my newspapers from way back in 2003 and Hamza and everything like that. And then was filming me talking about Hamza. And I ended up in his movie, Age of Extremes. And yeah, alongside Mosaic Beg, Tony Benn, all these sort of quite big names, and there's little me stuck in the middle there somewhere with my shaky camera footage, which he used, which was really funny looking at in the cinema. I actually did cry in the cinema when I saw it on the big screen, and me, like, because, you know, it was so hard work, and I was really getting nowhere filming in Finsbury Park. It was just a nightmare, really. And
so about the guy.
Oh, about him? Yeah, he seems like a nice fella. He seems quite intense. I went to Speaker's Corner a few times, and I saw him in Speaker's Corner. And yeah, he's got sort of catchphrases which he kept on coming back to, and winding people up about and stuff like. And yeah, he seemed really cool. He's quite funny and very controversial, and I don't think he would mind, you know, if people were fronting and squaring up to him. He would go right up to them, and he did. I don't think he was backward about having a bit of a ruck, if people wanted a bit of a ruck. I never saw him having a ruck, but he was quite intense, and yeah, people all liked him.
So you spent a lot of time with him, and that's all you got to say about him? No,
I didn't spend a lot of time with him.
Oh, you didn't?
No. I mean, only him filming me. Like, yeah, only, you know, he was filming me. I was in the movie, and then I went to the premiere in Tricycle Cinema, and Mozambique was talking, and then I went to another premiere in Ladbroke Grove, and I was down on the stage afterwards talking a bit. Like, he seems to be much more anti the media than I am. He doesn't like the BBC, he doesn't like Channel 4. I think he's had big falling outs. He's had proper falling out with Channel 4. He was like, they asked him to come and teach some media thing, and he said, well, why do you want me to teach media if you never put me on? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you a 5 minutes after news. He said, yeah, fuck your 5 minutes after news. Like, he was like, he just really hates them. Whereas I don't really hate the media. I've got no reason to. My media career didn't fail because of the BBC or ITV. Although this guy keeps commissioning for Channel 4, I don't got a lot of love for him. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, that's what I knew about Ishmael. And I see him at the carnival every year, pouring rum down people's gullets. I think he's moved to Cuba mainly now. I don't think he's definitely not interested in coming back to Speaker's Corner. His time there seems to be done, and I don't think he wants to be a YouTube sort of style person. He was making, you know, proper documentaries, and if you get a chance to see them, Rice and Peas.
So when he filmed
brilliant.
You, yeah, Rice and Peas. Yeah. So when he filmed you, what did you talk about after? Have you got nothing?
I can't really think. No, I mean, what do you talk about? No. I mean, like, I'm not enough to form a great opinion on the guy. He's yeah, you'd form more opinion seeing him in Speaker's Corner, definitely. Like, yeah. I mean, he's, you know, a business guy making films and making films on really tight budgets, like, and making some progress. I think he's got some community down there, hasn't he? Some regular people who were supporting Rice and Peas from Ladbroke Grove, and the whole carnival lot, isn't it? He's connected to all the carnival people, and I think he's made a book about carnival and sold a book about carnival. Like, yeah. Seems to be doing quite well down there. Yeah, so after failing to make documentaries, I've ended up turning the whole thing into a graphic novel. That's right. What I'm working on now. It's a cartoon.
Right.
Yeah, very much related to what I used to film. And I don't think I'm not gonna preview it here, but I will. You'll be the first to know. I've got some pictures, and I started on the imagery. I've written about 350-page proper graphic novel about London, future London, under fairly fundamental Islam underwater.
What's your views on Brexit?
Brexit.
While we're here?
I was really not in the middle about Brexit, but I was not prepared to start supporting fucking Europe, yeah, when they were going on about just off that Greece business. I thought, yeah, suddenly, you know, when Greece was going off, they were like, oh, Euro is really bad, and then suddenly with Brexit, oh no, we all love the EU, let's stay in the EU. I was like, no way, I'm sorry, mate, this is like really, this is like unelected guys and everything. But I knew that the opposite was just basically the NHS getting sold off by the Tories, like, you know, which is what Brexit's all about. So I didn't vote, and but I knew we were going out. I won money on Trump, and I really wish I had the double accumulator on Brexit, because I saw that coming. Mile off.
Bun TNTS Greek, by the way, as well. But yeah, so because of the Greeks and what it was that triple thing, wasn't it? It was the Germany and all sorts. They kind of tied their hands, didn't they? And made them
ridiculous.
Left them in debt for the next 50 years. But some people say that they made that debt themselves. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, Greece, they don't like paying taxes, the Greeks, and they're probably right, you know. I mean, I don't know.
They won the football that year.
They did, didn't they? Yeah, it's fucking hilarious, wasn't it? Yeah.
What a fix.
Yeah. But I don't support the European Union. I think Tony Blair was the only guy who finally said something actually useful there. He said that the EU has to renegotiate what deal it has so that people don't want to leave. And that's like, that was the first time he actually said something. So no, it wasn't the first time, because he does occasionally pull something out of his ass which sounds sensible. Like, yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah. So it's been a great afternoon. I'm glad I came down.
Yeah, I'll keep filming. I think it's really nice to see what you're doing. Big up MistaRax, and it's really nice to see what you guys are doing in the Speaker's Corner, and keeping it real on that, like, on the street, like, you know. Sorry, that's a not very white thing to say, but like, you know, filming on the street is totally where it's at, and Speaker's Corner as well. I think it's the best multi-camera, multi-person reality show in existence, like, without a doubt. And it can't get on mainstream TV because it's so controversial, which is absolutely spectacular.
We reach the parts mainstream media cannot.
You do.
Ban the BBC and all of them. All right, thanks very much, Dave. What's your details online and stuff, so if anyone's interested, they could get in touch?
Yeah, Dave Bones, Malung TV News on YouTube. We're on, if you want to talk to people who you might not agree with, we've got a very open Facebook page called Post-Factual Society, which you're welcome. If you can debate without losing your temper or crying, and with people who you might not agree with.
And then what about that documentary that I watched that you sent me the link for?
Age of Extremes, Ishmael Blackgrove, Age of Extremes, Rice and Peace TV. Big up Ishmael wherever you are.
Cheers.
Now you're going to look better than the bride, seriously. Where are we going to meet them?
Oh, fucking phones.
That's the one. Oi. How did he not find a baggie with his hand in my shoe? Way too close for me. Oh well, at least they allowed me through. Should be a good night in here. Ramo in the main room. People keep pushing me though. No reception on the phone. And I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
They said they'd be here, they said in the corner. And I'm thinking,
people pushing by, then walking off into the night.
These look well speckly, a bit green and blue. Threes is well cheap though, so I'll take 3 if I need to. Right, I'm on a plan. I wish the bouncers would go away. Borrow water off this man, here goes nothing, okay. And I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
Oh, that's proper rain. That tastes like hairspray. And I'm thinking,
people pushing by, then walking off into the night.
I hate coming to the entrance just to get bars on my phone. You have no new messages, so why haven't they phoned? Menu write message, so where are you and Simone? Send message Dan's number, where have they gone? And I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
Why's the message pending? Where the fuck are you? And I'm thinking,
people pushing by, then walking off into the night.
Brandy or beer? Water's a good idea. I wish that bar lady would appear and come serve over here. Where the fuck could they be? Still not over in the corner. This night's a tragedy. I keep thinking I saw her, and I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
no, that's not them. That's not them either. And I'm thinking,
people pushing by, then walking off into the night.
I'm still not feeling anything. This has got to be a dud. It's been ages since I necked it. I smoked 6 tabs to the knob. Belly's not even tingling. I just feel a bit pissed. No one looks like mingling. I can't see her or him, and I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
I'm gonna do another, I think. Yeah, one more, these are shit. And I'm thinking,
people pushing by, then walking off into the night.
These toilets are a piss tape. Queue's bigger than the door. Gotta get rid of this pill taste. What are they chatting so much for? Glad I'm not a girl in this place. They'll be here till dawn. Sure, my belly's tingling a bit. Something's happening, I'm sure. And I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
maybe I shouldn't have done the second one. I feel all fidgety and warm.
People pushing by, then walking off into the night.
Everything in the room's spinning. I think I'm gonna fall down. My heart's beating too quick. I'm fucking tripping out. I wonder whether they got in. Turned away, no doubt. Who cares? This is a tune coming in. That one noise is like, I'm thinking,
lights are blinding my eyes.
My eyes are rolling back. I'm rubbing my thighs with my hand, and I'm thinking,
people pushing by, then walking off into the night.
yeah, they cheer. Can they see my hand in the air? Need to wave them over here. I swear Simone's kissing Dan. My head's twisted severe. Bodies rushing everywhere. They could have texted me when they were near, but I'm fucked and I don't care.
Lights are blinding my eyes.
What was I thinking about? Oh, who cares?
People pushing by,
Totally fucking.
then walking off into
Oh,
the
you fucking
night.
stand. This is fucking amazing.